start with some standard algorithm. So let's go ahead and set this up. So we talked about standard algorithm when it came to multiplication, but we also have standard algorithm for division. So let's go here. I have 8. That is my divisor. Then I'm going to have 1,139. This is my dividend or my total. This right here is my total. This is my amount of groups. My quotient will be how much is in each group. So let's go ahead and set this up. So for our divisions, we're going to follow a step called divide. Then we're going to multiply, subtract. Then we're going to bring it on down and bring it on back. That is what we're going to be using as our guide for today. So let's go ahead and look at this. Let's go ahead and cover. I want to start off with my highest place value, which is in the thousands place. So again, I'm just going to cover all of this and just going to show my 1. So if I have 1,000, will I be able to separate it to 8 groups? Or just 1? If I only had 1 cube, will I be able to put that into 8 groups? No, I will not be able to put that into 8 groups. So what do I have to do? I'm going to move on to my next one. So here, now I have 11. Will I be able to put the 11 into 8 groups? Yes. Now how many times? Well, I want you to think. If I had 11 flats and I had 8 groups, how many would I be able to put into each group? We can count by 8s. If I go 8, 16, 16 is already too high of a number. So I know I can only put 1 into each group. So let's go ahead and put that. I have only 1. I'll only be able to put 1 flat into each group. So that's my divide. Now I have to multiply. I'm going to multiply 1 times 8. What is 1 times 8? That's right, it is 8. What is after multiply? We subtract. 11 minus 8. What is 11 minus 8? That's right, it's 3. Now I have something called bring it on down. Then I have bring it on back. So bring it on down means just to get the next number next to it. And we're just going to bring it on down. This is my 33. And then we're going to bring it on back, meaning we're going to go up to the top and divide. So again, now I have 33. Can I separate 33 into 8 groups? Yes, I should be able to, but how many times can I do that? Again, I can use my multiplication. I can do 8, 16, 24, 32. After that, I have 40. So will I be able to put 40 into here? Nope, 40 is too big. I have to use a number closest to it, but that is less than. So I know that I have, in order to do that, I'm counting by 8, 16, 24, 32. That means I was able to put 4 into each group. I divided, now I have to multiply. 4 times 8 is equal to 32. Now I have to subtract. 33 minus 32 is 1. How do I know that? Well, 3 minus 2 is 1, 3 minus 3 is 0, so I just leave it alone. So now I have to bring it on down and bring it on back. So I bring it on down, that means I'm going to take this 9 right here, and I'm going to bring it on down. So now I have 19. This is my new number that I'm dividing by. Now again, if I have 19 candies and I only had 8, I had 8 friends to share with, will I be able to give each person a candy? Yes, but how many candies will I be able to give them? 8, 16, 24. Is 24 too high of a number? Yep. So which one is close to it but is less than 19? That is 16. And how many times will I be able to get there? 2. Now I divided. Now I have to multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. After I multiply, I subtract. 19 minus 16 is? That's right, it's 3. Now my next step is to bring it on down and bring it on back. Is there another number next to 9 that I can bring down? No. So that means my quotient, meaning I was able to put 142 into each group, but I had a remainder of 3. So let's keep practicing together. I'm using this divisor tool that helps me keep everything organized. So let's go ahead and practice together. Let's do 954. Now let's divide that by 6. Again, this is my divisor, and this is my dividend. My dividend divisor. Dividend is how much I have in all. Divisor is my groups and how much is in each group. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I look at the first one. I want to ask you, if I had 6 people and 9 candies, will I be able to give each person a candy? Yes, I will. How many will I be able to give each person? So in order to figure that out, let me count by 6s. 6, 12. Nope, 12 is already too much. It's just 6, which is just 1 time. I'll only be able to give them 1 candy. So first step is to divide. Next is to multiply. So let's multiply 1 times 6. What is 1 times 6? Yep, that's 6. Now what do I do next? I subtract. I'm going to subtract 9 minus 6. What is 9 minus 6? Yep, that's 3. What's next? I bring it on down. So I bring down my next number that I see. That is a 5. So I'm going to bring it on down. And what number did I just create? I created the number 35. So now we're dividing this by 6. So let's see, if I have 35 pieces of candy and I only have 6 friends to share it with, will I be able to give each friend a candy? Yeah, I will, right? I have 35 and only 6 friends. I have a lot of candy. So how many candies will I be able to give each friend? Well, let's check. I have 6, 12, 18, 24, 32. Oh, let me count that again. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Well, will I be able to give 36 candies? No, I only have 35. So how many will I be giving to them? That's right, only 5. Why 5, you may ask? Well, if I have 35 candies and I want to give it to 6 friends, I like to count by 6s. Well, so let's try 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. So I like to look, and I'm going to look for the closest to 35. Well, what is the closest to 35? Again, it's 36, but I need it to be smaller than 35, and the closest is 30. Now, how many did I have to count to get to 30? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is what goes on top. So that means I was able to give 5 candies to each of my friends. So now let's see how much candies I have left over. So what do I have to do? I have to multiply. 5 times 6 is 30. Now that I divided, now that I multiplied, what's next? That's right, I subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 3 minus 3 is nothing, so I already subtracted. My next step is to bring it down, so I'm just going to bring down this 4 all the way over here. I have 54. So now I'm dividing 54 by 6. So again, I'm going to use my 6's here to look for a 54. Yep, I have a 54 here. So again, I have 54 candies and I'm trying to share it with 6 of my friends. Do I have enough to share? Yep, I do have enough. How many? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm able to give each friend 9. So now I have to bring it on back. So I have to start from the beginning. I divided. Now I have to multiply. 9 times 6 is 54. After I multiply, I subtract. 54 minus 54 is 0. Now that I subtract, I have to bring down. Do I have any numbers here to bring down? Nope. So that means my quotient is 159. So this means that 954 divided by 6 is going to equal to 159. Let's go ahead and practice another one. Let's do 442, and I'm going to divide it by 2. So I'm going to go ahead, I know I'm dividing by 2, so I'm going to go ahead and write my multiples here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So let's go ahead and get started. I need to, again, use my divide first. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to cover the last two numbers and look at the first one. Again, this is my dividend of the total I have, and this is my amount of groups. I like to use the candy analogy, so I'm going to keep on using it. I have 4 pieces of candy and 2 friends to share it with. Will I have enough to give a friend 1? Yes, I'll be able to give her, but how many will I be able to give my friend? Not just 1, but I'll be able to give her 1, 2. So this becomes a 2. So that's me dividing. That's what I divided. Now I have to multiply. I'm going to multiply 2 times 2. What is 2 times 2? That's right, that's 4. Now that I multiplied, I have to subtract. What am I going to subtract? 4 minus 4, what does that equal to? That's right, equals to 0. Now I have to bring it on down. And that means that I'm just going to get the next number I see, which is right here, and I'm going to bring it down here. So now, this is the new number I'm dividing by. Dividing it by 2. So again, I'm only looking at the 4. Again, I have 4 pieces of candies with 2 friends. Will I be able to give 1 to each friend? Yep, I'll actually be able to give her 2, just like we mentioned earlier. 2 times 2, because I already divided. I was already bringing it on back. 2 times 2 is 4. Remember, now I'm looking at this number. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. And I bring it on down, meaning I bring down this 2. Again, now this is a new thing that I'm dividing by 2. So I'm going to bring it on back, meaning I'm going to start all over again back at dividing. If I have 2 pieces of candy and I have 2 friends, will I be able to give a friend a candy each? Yep. How many candies will they both get? They will only get 1 candy. I brought it on back. I divided. Now I have to multiply. What number did I just put here on top? 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Since I multiplied, now I have to subtract. 2 minus 2 is 0. Now I have to bring it on down. Do I have any number here to bring on down? No, I do not. So that means that this is my quotient. So I know that 442, my dividend divided by my divisor, which is 2, will give me my quotient of 221. So 442 divided by 2 is 221. Now, let's go ahead and try another one. But this time I'm going to amp it up a little bit. And let's go ahead and go with our thousands place. Let's go ahead and divide 1,000, 80. And let's divide that by 8. So let's go ahead and write our rules here. But before I do that, let me go ahead and write 8, 16, 24. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. 48, 56, 64, 72, and lastly we have 80. That is our multiples of 8. So our number one rule that I'm going to use right here, we have to go ahead and start by dividing. What are we going to divide first? Again, we start at the very top here. We look at just the 1. I like to use the same exact analogy. I have 1 candy with 8 friends. Will I be able to divide that equally? No, I don't have enough to give out. So what do? I move on to the next one. Now I have 10. I have 10 candies now. Will I be able to give one to each person? Yep, I will now, right? Now that I have 10. How many will each person receive? Well, let's think. I give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's already 1 to each group. I'll only have 2 left over. Now, will I be able to put another one into each group? No. So if I look through here, how many times can I give to a friend? Only 1 time. So my 1 will go up here. So I'll put it right here. We divided, now we multiply. Let's do 1 times 8. What is 1 times 8? That is 8. Now that I multiplied, I subtract. 10 minus 8 equals 2. 2. Just like we mentioned before, now I only have 2 left over. Now I have to bring it on down. What does that mean to bring it on down? It means we're going to bring down the next number next to it, which is my number 8. Now I'm going to be using 28 and I'm going to divide that by 8. So same situation. Now I have 28 candies and I need to give to 8 of my friends. How many will each of my friends receive? So let's go ahead and look at our multiples. So now I have to bring it on down. Now I'm bringing it back. I'm going to divide now. This is my bringing it on back, starting all over again. So now we're dividing. So let's look here. I have 28 divided by 8. So I want to count how many times can each of my friends get a candy. Well, they can get it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Can they get it 4 times? The only way they could each get 4 candies if I had 32 candies. Do I have 32 candies? No. I only have 28, so 24 would be my closest. So right here is where I would circle again. How many times did I need to get there? I needed 1, 2, 3. So that means each person or each of my friends will get 3 candies. That is my divide. Now I have to multiply. So let's go ahead and multiply. 3 times 8 is 24. Now that I multiplied, I have to subtract. What is 8 minus 4? That is 4. 2 minus 2 is 0. So I subtracted. Now I have to bring it on down. So now I'm going to bring my next number down, and that is 40. So now I'm going to divide 40 into 8 groups. Now I have 40 candies with 8 friends. How many will I be able to get? Well, let's look. Do I have 40? Look, I do. So if I have 40 candies, my friend will be able to get 5 each. So I'm going to put a 5 here. Bring it on down. We brought it back up. So now 5 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. I multiplied. Now I have to subtract. 40 minus 40 is just 0. Now I have to bring it on down. Do I have any number here on the side to bring it on down? No, I don't. I don't have anything to bring on down. So that means that this is my final answer. Now that we've practiced our algorithm a few times, I want to go ahead and try a new way or new method that I'd like to show. Instead of going long vertically, maybe we can go long horizontally. Let's go ahead and start working on this. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the box method. So I'm going to do the same problem we did up here and show you that it's relatively the same thing, but whichever could be easier for you, whichever is less confusing is better. Let's go ahead and get started. So I have 1,000, 80. So same process of putting each digit into each box. I'm going to divide it by 8. Still goes on the outside. Still same process. I still start off with the 1. If I have 1 candy, will I be able to give 1 to each of my 8 friends? Nope, I will not be able to give them any, so I'm going to put a 0 here and subtract that. 1 minus 0 is 1. Now, all I'm going to do is take this 1 and put it next to my 0. Now, what number do I have now? Now I have a 10, just like I did here. I covered my 1, then I moved over, now we have a 10. So now if I have 10 candies, will I be able to give 1 to each of my friends? Yep, and how many will each of my friends receive? They will receive a 1. Same process, I'm going to multiply 1 times 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Now I subtract, just like I'm doing on my standard algorithm. I divide, multiply, subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. So I'm going to bring this 2 and put it in front of my 8. Now I have 28. Does this look very familiar to what we were doing? Yep. So if I have 28 candies, will I be able to give to 8 of my friends? Yes, I will. How many times? Well, we said 3 times. So I'll put a 3 here. 3 times 8 is 24. Now I subtract. 28 minus 24 is 4. What I do with this 4, I bring it down to the side and I have a 40. So now I figure out if I have 40 candies, will I be able to give to each of my friends just like I did here on top? I'll be able to give each of my friends 5 candies. 5 times 8 is 40. Gonna subtract. That is 0. So my quotient is still the same. I still have 135 candies can go to 8 of my friends if I have 1,080. Now we're gonna okay guys, so today we're gonna start talking about interpreting remainders. So we've got a remainder, we're gonna dab it. So we're either gonna drop it, add 1 to the quotient, or be the answer. So we're going to dab. So only use the quotient will be for drop it, add 1 to the quotient, everyone or everything is included, or be the answer, meaning that the remainder is the answer. So I want to go ahead and give some examples. So let's go ahead and give an example of drop it, only use the quotient. An example of that would be Sarah has a piece of Twizzler candy that is 16 inches long. She wants to share the whole candy with 4 friends so that each person has the same amount. How long will each piece be? So I'm going to go ahead and write this down. We are dividing 16 inches by 5. So 16 divided by 5. Or I can write it as 16 being my dividend and 5 being my divisor. So if I were to divide this, I know that my answer would be 3 with a remainder of 1. So that means each of my friends will get about 3 inches with 1 inch left. Now my question here said that they want to make sure each person gets the same amount. Well, if I give 1 inch extra to another friend, would that be fair? No, so that means that 1 extra inch will be left out. We're going to drop it. We're only going to use the quotient. We're not going to care about that 1 inch. We are only going to look at our quotient, which is 3 inches. Now let's look at an example of add to the quotient. Everyone or everything has to be included. So here, for example number 2, there are 30 people at a wedding. 30 people at a wedding. They want to put 4 people in each car so that people can sit comfortably. How many cars will they need? So we have 30 people. That is my total or my dividend. Then I have 4 people per car, so they want to know how many cars we need. Well, my answer here would be 7 with a remainder of 2. So I'm going to ask you guys, so this is saying I need 7 cars to be able to fit 4 people into each car, but I'll have a leftover of 2 people. So that means at my wedding, I'll have 7 cars with 4 of them in there, but then I'll have 2 people left behind. Now, do I want those 2 people to be left behind? No, I want all these people to be at the wedding. So what should I do? Should I just have those 2 people walk? No, I'm just going to add another car to that. If I get another car, we'll just have 2 people in there. So we're going to add 1. So that's what the A stands for. Add 1 to the quotient. So 7 plus 1 means that we're going to have 8 cars. That is the best way to make sure everybody is included and everybody fits in the car. Now for another example. It says David has $20 in his pocket. He wants to give the same amount of money to 3 friends. The rest of the money, if there's any, will go to his sister to buy candies. How much money will go to his sister if David wants to give away everything he has? So we're going to go ahead and divide. So he has $20. He wants to share it with 3 of his friends. So let's go ahead and divide that. I know that if I multiply, I get 6 here with a remainder of 2. So that means each friend will receive we'll get $6. We'll get $6 given. But the question is asking me how much will go to his sister, because remember he said the rest of the money will go to his sister. So are we worried about the friends? No, all we're worried about is for the sister. So we have a leftover of what? We have $2 left over. So how much will the sister get? The answer is $2. So this is an example of B, the answer. That means our remainder or our leftover is the answer. So again, let's go ahead and start from the top. So this is example 1. This is our drop it. Remember, we want every person to get everything included. So in other words, only use the quotient. Whatever's left over, we push it to the side. We drop it. This one here, I wanted to make sure that everybody went to the wedding. So instead of getting 7 cars, I added another car, and I was able to add 1 to my quotient. That's what the A stands for in my DAB. B means to be the answer. This one was specifically asking me how much my sister would get left over because I was going to give the leftover to my sister. Well, the answer is my remainder, meaning my $2.